Hello guys, welcome back to today's point. We are in a media lecture discussing for the Android application development. This lecture would be entirely focusing on the broadcast receiver. So before I inform or tell you about broadcast receiver, I would like to ask, what is a broadcast? If we go by the traditional definition, if I am speaking and many of you are listening over here, right, as you would be doing, that is a broadcast. Now, what happens in a similar way, we are having broadcast receivers in Android. You remember the last time when your phone battery was low, then some applications were automatically turned off. You were not able to adjust the screen brightness. Also, you were not able to turn on your Gmail sync was automatically off. Why? To save the battery. How it all happens? Android has some by default broadcast receivers that are created. Like for example, if I say that phone has restarted, then the battery low, then incoming call, receive SMS. So all these are broadcast receiver. You have encountered a lot of broadcast receivers in your own application. If I tell you another example, if you have installed an anti-theft system on your phone, how does the anti-theft system work? It simply works on the concept of broadcast receiver, that whenever the phone has restarted, it tries and fetches the SIM number of the SIM that is there in the phone. If that SIM number is the same that was there in the phone previously, then the phone is with you. If it happens to be the SIM number has changed, then a broadcast based on the broadcast receiver of phone restarted or rebooted, we fetch the SIM number and we start and continue to check that, is it changed, and on change you perform particular action. So how does the broadcast receiver work? We define the broadcast receiver in our manifest file, that is Android manifest.xml, and we take an action that what has to be done if in case this broadcast occurs. Another example, if you would have used that your Book My Shows app or an app that tries to fetch the OTP automatically. So on SMS received, it fires up a broadcast receiver, and that receiver tries to fetches the SMS. And if that SMS is the OTP, it shows it on your, it automatically shows it in the application, and you don't need to manually enter it. So all these things basically work on the broadcast receiver. So now let's see what a broadcast receiver actually is. So broadcast receivers simply respond to the broadcast messages from other applications or the system itself. These messages are sometimes called events or intents. For application initiate broadcast to let other applications know some data has been downloaded. Like if you download something, it tells that yes, I have done with downloading that data, and is also available for them to use. So the broadcast receiver will intercept the communication and will initiate the proper action. There are two steps to make the broadcast receiver work. First is you create a broadcast receiver, and the second is you register the broadcast receiver. How do you do that? Let's see. So how does the broadcast receiver start? You make up a Java file. I have made a Java file named as my receiver. This Java file should extend the broadcast receivers class, which is provided by the Android. On doing this, it would automatically ask us to override the existing functionality, that is the on receive. Now what happens is, whenever this receiver gets activated, the on receiver method is executed, and here we are just showing a toast, but you can also actually say, like some applications fetch your SMS and check for the OTP. You can detect a phone call. Even if you have if you want to build a incoming incoming call blocker, how you do that? You check here that on receive of a call, you come here, your flow comes to the on receive method. Here you automatically disconnect the call. Now how does the flow comes here? That change is done in the manifest file. In the manifest file, we are having a receiver tag, as we discussed already. We name this receiver whatever the name has been given over here. So it's my receiver. Now when will this broadcast be fired is defined in the intent filter class. We have action which defines that on Android intent action boot completed. The phone has been completely booted. Simply fire up the my receiver class, the my receiver, and here it would be firing up the on receive method. So if we go by this definition, we simply get a toast intent detected whenever the phone has completely booted up. So how it works? It's an Android system and it's a broadcast receiver. So it registers basically for the system to observe something, and if the intent has occurred, the system notifies the broadcast receiver that yes, this thing has occurred up. It helps you to detect a particular system or the particular state and perform an action based on that state. If you're building a call blocker, simply you are having a predefined list of intents or over intent filters over here. You pass that here. I think the intent is incoming call, and if it's true, you come in the on receive. You check the call is coming from which number. You are having a database. If the number in the database and this number matches, you cancel the call, and the user is able to have a automatic call blocker applicable or on in his phone. So that's how the broadcast receiver work. We can even create our own broadcast receiver intents. So let's quickly go to our Android Studio and see the working of a broadcast receiver. How do we make a broadcast receiver? And how do we activate it? What happens when the receiver is activated? And how does the flow come to the on receive method? Thank you. Hello guys, welcome back again. I hope you have enjoyed having the broadcast receiver session now. Now it's time, let us have a practical demo wherein we would be seeing how a broadcast receiver actually works, right? So for that I request you to kindly open up your Android Studios. In your Android Studio, open up your activity_main.xml like I've done this one, right? I have made this XML. I won't be explaining you about this since it's very basic. I expect you to have been done till here now. Now what I have to do is on the click of this button, I would be setting up a broadcast. I would be calling a broadcast and would be making a new broadcast receiver. So first let me make a broadcast receiver. How do I do that? For this, I go to my package and I write the new Java class. I named my Java class as my receiver. This class will be extended from the broadcast receiver. I click on OK. So here's what I've got. Now it is asking that this class should extend the functionalities of the broadcast. So we are having a method that is on receive, right? This method is the one which would be having the entire functionality of the receiver. So whenever a broadcast is happening, like in this case, whenever a broadcast is happening, we would be able to fetch this one. So how do I do? Here I'm simply writing a toast. It would be saying that intent for broadcast. Now what I have to do is in my main activity.java, I would be requiring to fire this intent, right? How to do that? For that I have to first make the object of the button. Now to set the on click listener on this button. Here I make up a new intent, name it as intent. In this intent I set an action and so now I have to also declare this receiver in my manifest file. For that I come over here and I make a new receiver. And I need to pass the filter on which this receiver should be active. For this I have to pass an action and the name of the action is android.example.broadcast receiver.custom intent. I have to use this action in my main activity. Now if I run my application, I would be able to see the broadcast getting fired up. Now let's see. So I click this one and it says intent for broadcast fired. This was what we had done in our here that we had shown a toast. So like we perform some action, you can do it even without creating your own, and you can extend to use the existing intent from the Android available. So guys, that was all about the broadcast receiver from our side. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay tuned as we'll taking you to through other sections, right? Thank you.